Hello, hello. Hey guys, how are we? Hello, Cheryl. Hey, enough, how are you? And Carrie's here, so we need to be on our best behavior. If you just let me know, guys, if you can hear me okay, because I'm using some software at the moment which sometimes messes up my internet connection. Hey, spaghetti. Oh, cool. Nice one. So, I sound good. So, Deborrah Collier. This is obviously a big case at the moment. In a recent case. Hello, Angela. How are you? And I tend to usually steer away from the big cases, the ones that I guess capture the imagination of the most people. Um, I don't know. Sometimes find that on YouTube, the big cases, certain YouTubers can become quite possessive about the big cases, right? And it just gets a bit annoying. But regardless, this case here has really it's fascinating. I think it's the most mysterious case I've ever come across. This is obviously a recent case. Um, Deborrah Collier. I think most people have to be aware of this case. If anyone's not, if you just throw a 2 in the chat. She was obviously found deceased on the 11th of September. So we're coming up for a month since then. And we obviously, law enforcement haven't stipulated any certain suspects yet, but I think we all know where the fingers are pointing. Um, Deborah's daughter Amanda Bearden, sorry, and her on and off boyfriend Andrew, that you can see in the pictures here. They they've had a troubled past, a lot of issues with drugs, allegedly, and domestic violence, allegedly. And the only thing that I can really say about this for certain is that it almost definitely leads to the issues that the daughter and her boyfriend were having. Yeah, he looks quite creepy in that picture there, Carrie. That's actually a recent picture that's been taken by um, members of the mainstream media, I guess. So I think they're feeling quite defensive. So I think that's why he looks rather creepy. Hey, Helen. So I've not got any twos in chat. So I'm assuming that everyone's up to speed with this case, is aware of this case. Anyone that's not, as I say, throw a 2 in chat. Does anyone else get Coen Brothers vibes with this case? It's so strange. Things don't add up. Things are out of place. So I've linked a Google document there at the top that's pinned. I think Cheryl put it in chat as well. It's basically a collection. It's a mixture of my own notes and notes I've taken from media articles, law enforcement releases, and some forum posts here and there. There's a lot of information in there. It's kind of jumbled up a little bit. It's not in the best of order, but anyone that would like to use that, feel free to download that and you can amend it yourself. The amount of his debts. Okay, so the most mysterious thing about this case, obviously, is the fact that Deborrah, for some reason, she drove. Now she's lives in Athens in Georgia, and she drove up north, almost to the North Carolina border, to a town called Clayton, 60 miles from her home, or actually further than that, I think, 70 odd miles from her home. And she went into a family dollar store and she purchased the following articles. Let's have a look. A poncho, a blue tarp, a red tote bag, a torch lighter, and a pack of paper towels. So this was 2:55 p.m. She's captured at 2:17 p.m. via a school zone camera traveling north on US Highway 441. And something to bear in mind with this is that she was captured there on that camera only 2 miles north of where her body was found the following day. This is 12 miles south from Clayton. So she drove up. No one knows when she left her home, but she drove all the way up to Clayton and purchased those items from a family dollar store. But she passed anywhere up to 7 or 9 family dollar stores on her way. It's very strange. And you can see from her attire here that she's kitted out as if she's going to a tailgating party. Okay, she's got all the football fan gear on there, and she's got a head visor. She's got her purse. This is her going into the Family Dollar store, and I'll just show you the footage of her arriving in this car park. This was released today, actually. So I missed the start of that there, but she drives in from the right-hand side. I heard an indication that she was maybe over at McDonald's prior to this. So she drove in here and then she parked there next to this van for a short time before moving forward to park closer to the store. And this girl here, it looks like she works in the family store. Now she's parked just up to the left there, and she comes out to her car and returns to the store a good few times. Now, I don't know if there's any if that's linked in any way, but some people are curious about her because when Debbie eventually leaves, she leaves at the same time. But it could just be coincidence. Sorry, guys. I'll get to your comments there shortly. Yeah, tailgating is basically partying outdoors, usually for sports events where people will meet up at a car park or some location, and they'll all park their cars, open the trunks, and they'll have food or a few beers. I actually had to look up that myself. It's not a phrase that we have over here. Um, so that's how she appears to be dressed, and everything she buys exactly matches her apparently going to an occasion like that, whether it's a tailgating thing or whether she's just wanting to meet up with back with her daughter to watch the football. Who knows? But I'm certain that she was intending to either be at a tailgating party or to meet up with others to watch the football. So yeah, this is the footage here, and you can see her here walking into the store. It gets a bit pixelated there, unfortunately. But you'll see her enter the store here shortly. And she's in this store for somewhere close to 15 minutes before purchasing these items here. And there's nothing to indicate that she's under any duress. I think most people agree with that. Um, the the girl there, the clerk behind the till, you can see that she's smiling, she's um, laughing, it appears, with Debbie. Yeah, enough. That that worker that I showed you earlier, she does follow, or she leaves the car park at the same time, but you can see that she goes in the opposite direction. She goes northbound, whereas Debbie returns, or she leaves and she drives southbound. I don't think she's connected. Oh God, guys, I've just noticed that you can't hear me. How long was I muted for? Someone tell me what was the last thing you heard me say? I'm such an amateur. A long time. What was the last thing I said? I just went through a whole long spiel. The dollar store. Okay, so did I explain that she left the dollar store and she stayed in the car park for 10 minutes? And just prior to her leaving, you would have seen there on the screen that she stops here briefly, and the timestamp here ties up with the Venmo transfer and message to her daughter. Okay. Yeah, sounds like I was on mute for a while. So, yeah, so she stopped there. Now, she's either stopped there to send the Venmo payment and message, or she's just got a notification, and that's why she stopped to check it. So we don't really know. Law enforcement haven't confirmed that it's definitely come from her device. And to all accounts, the Venmo payment could have been processed through another device, another phone or a tablet or a PC browser, as long as the person has her details to log in. That can be done. So we don't know at this stage. I think that she has sent that, and I'll give you my thoughts on what I believe is meant with the message that she sends. I'm trying to think what you guys would have missed me saying there. Hey Monique, how are you? So help me out, guys. Type a 1 if you think that Deborah sent the Venmo herself from her own phone, or if you think someone else sent the payment. And the daughter Amanda confirmed that the only things the Debbie took with her apparently was her purse that we seen in the footage, her phone, her driving license, and her debit card. Angela thinks the daughter sent it. And I said a 1 for Debbie, right? So most of you guys think Debbie sent it. There was a bit of confusion from the 911 call from her husband, Stephen. He said that the only things that were left basically were her debit card and driving license and purse upstairs. But he later clarified that he got that mixed up. So it seems it was an innocent enough mistake. Enough thinks the boyfriend sent it. A lot of people are pointing the fingers there. I think whatever has happened in this most bizarre case has to tie back to the daughter and the boyfriend's issues somehow. I'm not saying they're directly culpable, but whatever's happened to Debbie has to tie back to those issues. Daughter could easily access the phone, all Venmo info in the phone. Yeah. So of course, let me just play this here. So she stays here in that space briefly before leaving. There's that worker that I mentioned coming back to her van. She has gone in and out quite a few times. And I know a lot of people are suspicious of that. Okay, so here she goes here, leaving. And she does seem, I don't know, just hesitant. It's very strange the way she drives over here. She seems so unsure. And that's the worker there driving along. Debbie seems to pause and turns up here. It might be hard to see this here, but she turns right there and the employee turns left. Okay, so this is from Clayton, and then she's now journeying south. So that's 3:19 p.m. when she leaves the car park. She goes back onto US 441. Now, after or whoever sent the Venmo, whatever happened there, Debbie's phone switched off 2 minutes later as she was leaving the car park there. Steve has been at work from 9 o'clock until 4 p.m. He has been verified by his employers and by law enforcement. They've seen footage of him at work. He arrives home at 4:20. And according to Amanda, as soon as she got this very strange message in payment, she was in a panic. And according to her, she was driving around for 2 hours trying to locate Deborrah. Then I should just put in here actually at 5 p.m. This was noted the following day that law enforcement actually spotted Deborah's car parked at the pull-off near the crime scene. Then at 6 p.m., the husband, Stephen, reports her missing, saying that he'd not seen his wife, Debbie, since 9 p.m. the previous evening. They actually slept in separate bedrooms. He had really heavy snoring, apparently. So when he left, he seen Debbie's car in the driveway, and he assumed that she was still in bed. She may well have been. We don't know when Deborah left, but he clarified that he last seen Debbie at 9 p.m. the previous evening. So, yeah, Stephen makes his 911 call at 6 p.m. And the following day, around about 12:30 in the afternoon, law enforcement find her car in the lay-by, 15 miles or so south of Clayton. And then other investigators arrive. Amanda apparently arrived at the where the car was located, and she was hysterical, apparently. And they used some canines, and they found Deborah's body just south of the lay-by. I'm just going to show you the footage here of. So that's her car parked there, and she was found at the bottom of a ravine here in this heavily wooded area. And that's our car being towed away. You can see how heavily tinted these windows are in the back, which I think is something we should talk about when it comes to the surveillance footage from the car park, which we'll get into. Okay, now just to describe the crime scene is most bizarre. So now they found the red tote bag on its side apparently by an uprooted tree, and amid the roots of that uprooted tree, there appeared to be the remains of a very recent fire. Then further down the embankment, there was the partially burned blue tarp, and there was charred paper towels around the crime scene. Then a little bit further down, they found her body. Now, it was naked from the waist up. Her abdomen was charred, and her right hand was grasping a cut-off small tree that was to her right. She was laying on the ground on her back. Her feet were facing down the hill, and her head was facing up. Um, Reports are that her skin appeared black and bright red in places as if it was burnt. Now, was she tortured? Or was it an attempt to remove DNA evidence? Was the crime scene staged? Now, at the bottom of the ravine, there was a creek. So was she trying to get down to the water? We just don't know. They found her cell phone and her purse with the body. And something that might be important possibly, or maybe not, is the fact that there was a men's only rehab center pretty close to this crime scene. It's a rehab called Victory Home. Now, just bear in mind the alleged drug issues that we know about with her daughter and boyfriend. That may or may not be something. So they're obviously still waiting for the autopsy results and obviously some forensic investigations, digital forensics. I'm sure they're going to be able to trace from her car, her movements that day, because we have her captured on a school zone camera traveling north. Let me just find the picture of that there. So this is northbound at 217. This is her traveling here, but remember she enters the store at 2:55, and this is only 15, 16 miles short of Clayton, so she would have arrived in Clayton a lot earlier than she was in that store. So did she meet anyone prior to going to the store? But it's very strange that there's apparently no footage. She's not been captured on the southward journey, and there is apparently 4 different routes to take from Clayton to where the crime scene was. So did she travel down some of the back roads? Is that why they couldn't get any camera footage of the car? So this is Deborah here with her husband, Steve Collier. They had been married since 2013, and this is that's the daughter there, Amanda, and obviously that's Amanda's boyfriend, Andrew. Yeah, that's right, enough. She was in a hire car. She'd been in a car crash in April where apparently a tin of paint from a van driving in front of her struck her vehicle, damaged the vehicle. So that car was in for repairs, and she was driving the car that you've seen there. Okay, so just to I just want to go back over the footage, because when I first heard the details of this case and I seen the surveillance footage, my first instinct was, you know, was there any impairment with Debbie? Now, her daughter Amanda has confirmed that she had no history of mental issues or suicidal ideation. And as most of you have probably heard, law enforcement have pretty much ruled out suicide um, or this being the act of a serial killer. They seem pretty certain that this was a personal homicide. But it just makes no sense why on earth she would end up in the woods. Now, the message, I'll give you my interpretation of the message. Let me just bring that up again. So yeah, this is the Venmo message. I don't know if that's a screenshot of the actual message or if this is just something that's been made up. They are not going to let me go. What is she talking about there, right? I think what that's referring to is the fact that she was planning to spend the afternoon watching the football either at a tailgating party or some other event, something else planned either with Amanda, her daughter, or someone else that she knew. Okay, I think the way she's dressed and what she is buying is all for that purpose. And I think that everything is rational and explainable up until the moment that this message is sent. So what I think is that there has to be some strange reason that she drove so far out of her way, passing numerous other dollar stores or convenience stores all the way up to Clayton. Um, and it has to be the fact that she was meeting someone for a purpose that was related to the issues that her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend may have had. And there's indications that they allegedly have relapsed from um, any kind of addiction problems they may have. And was Debbie trying to sort out her daughter's problems? But I think that she was hoping to sort out whatever the situation was and then meet back up with whoever she was meeting to watch the football. Now, the football game that was taking place was due to start at 4 p.m. and she left the store at 3, was it 3:09? So I think everything was rational up to that point, and then that's when things went wrong. So I think she's saying they are not going to let me go, meaning they're not going to let me go to whatever this meeting was going to be. Um, love you, there's a key to the house in the blue flower pot. So I'm going to surmise that she was intending to meet up with her daughter Amanda, maybe Amanda's boyfriend, at her house to watch the game. Maybe they were going to barbecue outside, or maybe they were going to go elsewhere and meet up with other people, right? So I think that's what she's referring to when she says they're not going to let me go, but she's clearly in distress at this point. So I think that's the moment that she left the store and was sitting in her car. Something occurred in this car park at that point in time where everything went wrong, I believe. And I just want to show you something here once I just check the comments, guys. Something that might be something, might be nothing, but is really strange to me on the surveillance footage. Does anyone know where the possible tailgate was supposed to be? No, I've not heard anything regarding that. Amanda's not mentioned anything about this. I'm going to play Amanda's 911 call as well as Stephen's shortly and see what you guys make of these calls. Poor David, yeah, I mean, from all the information we can gather, Deborah was a pretty stable person. Um, although their house was modest enough, they were doing quite well in life. All their neighbors and friends said that they were a quiet, respectable couple. Low risk, in other words, right? No one has come forward to say she was joining them, but her daughter and boyfriend might have asked her to meet them. That's what I'm suspecting, and there's a particular reason that why Amanda knew that her mother was in trouble when she got that message. I think Debbie knew that she wasn't going to make it back in time to meet up, but I'm not sure she knew how much danger she was in at that point. It is really strange that she turned off her phone 2 minutes after sending that and leaving. Why would she turn her phone off? Now, a lot of people think that the reason that she was going up to that area so far out of her way is linked to the rehab center. Was she dropping someone off there on the way north, and then she went to pick up these items and then return south and meet up with this person or people again on that lay-by, on that pullover? Or did someone was there someone either in the car with her when she arrived at the car park, or did someone enter her car during that 10-minute period? Yeah, the Bulldogs had a game at 4 p.m. Yeah, she's actually wearing the top of the Bulldogs. Uh, do you think she drove herself, or do you think she picked up her daughter? Um, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. It feels to me that it was just her because Amanda's got to know that law enforcement would be able to trace. I mean, they've got her phone. They've got her and Andrew's phone, right? So they're going to be able to check their movements through that. I heard it said as well that apparently her daughter Amanda and Andrew had camped out somewhere in and around that area where she was found. That's just a rumor. I don't know if that's true or not. True, yeah, her daughter could have left her phone with her boyfriend. She did say that once she got that message that she drove around for 2 hours trying to locate Debbie. And a lot of people have pointed out the fact that oh, thanks, Carrier. I got your message there when I was on mute. A lot of people have pointed out the the gap in time from the Venmo message to when her husband Stephen called 911. It appears like Amanda was with him at this stage. You can hear that really through the 911 call. Oh, no worries, Angela. You can always listen back, right? I think what I'll do is play the 911 call from Stephen. If they camped in the area, Debbie could have gotten that stuff for them rather than the football game. Yeah, could be. It feels like, I tell you what it feels like to me. It feels to me that Debbie just was worried at that stage when the Venmo message was sent, but she didn't realize how much danger she was in, that perhaps her daughter did realize. So yeah, there was a 3 hour, pretty much a 3 hour gap from that message to when Steve called 911. So I'll play that for you guys here and see what you guys make of the call.
Athens, Arcadia, 911.
Yes. Came home. My wife wasn't home. Her driver's license still in there. The rental car's gone, and her daughter's here. And we were kind of worried about what's happening and where she's at. I was wondering if you could send somebody over here.
Okay. Do you have any medical issues, let's say like Alzheimer's or something like that?
No. She's 59 years old. No, she has no medical issues like that. And according to her daughter, who went up and her purse is still here with her driver's license. The only thing is the phone is gone, and she sent her daughter a text about 2 hours ago saying they won't let me go. Whatever that means, we don't know. And I've been gone all day parking cars for the football game and all, and that's where we're at.
What's your address, sir?
435 Rocky Drive, Athens, Georgia.
You said 435 Rocky Drive?
Yes, it's right next to Sandy Creek Park.
So Stephen, his job entailed parking cars at the football game in Athens, and it's verified that he was there from 9 a.m. until just after 4 p.m. and he arrives back at 4:20 here and made the call, this call right now at 6 p.m.
Okay, so she sent your daughter a text message saying that
My stepdaughter
that they won't let her go.
Yeah, she got a text message saying that.
And it come from her number, right? What's your name, sir?
Steve Collier.
Spell your last name for me?
Collier.
And your wife's name?
Deborrah.
Thanks, Cheryl. On mute again. Dear me. Yeah, Helen, no mention of the money that was transferred to Amanda. And just to say as well, that it's been confirmed by law enforcement that she did receive this money. We obviously don't know how it was sent, if it was from Debbie's phone or from another device, but she definitely got the money. So either Spaghetti says, so either the daughter and or boyfriend harmed Debbie or they let her into a fatal situation. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I believe she was without doubt intending to be at an event, whether it was a tailgate party or it was just meeting up with her daughter again or some friends at her house. Well, obviously it couldn't be any friends because we'd have that. We would have reports of that, right? So it could only really be um, a tailgate party with people that have a reason not to come forward, or maybe just back with her daughter to watch the game, right? And there's a reason that's not being reported. And I think what occurred, Debbie didn't quite realize how much danger she was in. And the message that she sends, where she says, "They won't let me go," is referring to the fact that she realizes that she's going to be held up. She's not going to make it in time for the game. So that's perhaps why she's told Amanda that the key's there so that Amanda can just go and perhaps start watching the football. But Amanda, for whatever reason, she's more in the know with whatever Debbie was trying to clear up. She realizes how much danger her mother's in. And that explains her reaction, driving around for a couple of hours, and it might explain her bizarre 911 calls where she sounds, to me, it sounds like she has, there's guilty knowledge there, right? I don't think she caused directly this homicide, but I think she has guilty knowledge that she's keeping to herself, right? Oh, cool, Kathy. Yeah, you can rewind back. You guys can hear me now, right? Okay, let me, after that ramble, play the rest of this 911 call.
Before, we call it Debbie, but it's Deborrah.
Same last name?
Collier, yes.
How old is she? 59?
59. She just turned 59.
You just returned home, right?
Pardon me?
You just returned home, right?
Yes, I just returned home. I was parking cars until about 4:30, and when I came back, the van that she had rented because the car was in the shop was gone. I figured she was shopping for food.
Okay. So and her car is there?
Pardon me? Her van's not here.
Okay. But her driver's license and what else is there?
Right. Yeah, her driver's license is here.
What else did she leave? With a purse or anything else?
Yeah, she left her purse, and her credit cards are here.
When was the last time she was seen?
Well, I left at 9 o'clock. She was still sleeping. So, last night. I mean, she went to bed last night, and I left, and the van was here.
So, is your stepdaughter there though? I mean, did she see her today?
Pardon me?
Did your stepdaughter see her today?
Wait a minute.
You say a stepdaughter. Did she see her or?
So, according to Amanda, she doesn't mention actually physically seeing her mother, Deborah, that day. She stated that she had spoken to Amanda on her phone in the afternoon, and law enforcement confirmed that happened.
Say that again. I'm trying to control a dog.
Okay, your stepdaughter, did she see her recently?
No, nobody has seen her. I was probably the last person to see her last night.
What time? You said 9 o'clock last night?
Yeah, about 9 o'clock we went to bed.
You left this morning, right?
Yes, at about 9.
I'm sorry. So did you see her this morning or last night?
No, I saw her last night at about 9 when she went to bed. And when I left, the van was here. And
so she was. You don't know if she was still there or not. You didn't see her this morning.
Right, except the van was still here. So I'm assuming she was sleeping.
What time was the message sent to your stepdaughter?
What time? About 2 hours ago?
About 2 hours ago?
Yes.
I think you can hear that Amanda's with him at this point. You hear him confirming that with Amanda in the background. You don't hear her voice, but I think you can deduce that.
About 2 hours ago?
Yes.
And it's specific
bed. And when I left, the van was here. And
so she was. You don't know if she was still there or not. You didn't see her this morning.
Right, except the van was still here. So I'm assuming she was sleeping.
What time was the message sent to your stepdaughter?
What time? About 2 hours ago?
About 2 hours ago?
Yes.
And it specifically said they won't let me go.
Pardon? Yeah, that's what the message said.
And that's all it said, right?
That's all it said.
And she was last seen driving, or she was driving her. What kind of car is that?
So you can tell by his reaction there that Amanda has definitely not told him about the money transfer.
It's I don't know, because her car's in the shop, so the rental place on
the van that she was driving, will she be in, or you don't know?
No, I don't know. It's Enterprise. She went a call from Enterprise. It's a Pacifica or something.
That's the car you saw this morning, though, right?
Yeah, the black van, yeah.
It's a black Pacifica?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's Pacifica.
And that's a rental car?
Yes, from Enterprise.
All right, I'm sorry. What's her birthday?
Deborah. D-E-B-B-I-E, or her given name is Deborrah.
No, her birthday.
D-E-B-R-R-A-H.
Her birthday? And she white, female, black, female?
Pardon me?
She white or black?
White.
How tall is she?
About 5'5".
How much she weigh?
About 150. 145, somewhere around there.
What color hair?
Blondish.
Would she be going to somebody's house, or?
That's a good question. I thought she was out shopping for food. Her daughter came over with that strange message, and then went upstairs to her bedroom and found out that her driver's license and credit card's still here. So that doesn't sound like her leaving the house to go shopping.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, Carrie, because I think that does seem a bit weird that he couldn't verify if Debbie was there that morning. They actually did have separate bedrooms, and apparently he's a lot older than Debbie. Debbie was 59, he's 67, I believe, and he has really heavy snoring, so they were in separate bedrooms. So that's the reason. Oh, hey, not your average patriot. Great name and welcome. It's always good to see new people. Yeah, so they were in separate bedrooms. He last seen Deborah at 9 p.m. that evening. I should mention as well this is important, that the daughter Amanda had been living elsewhere. Let me just see if I can get the specific location where she was. She was living out of Georgia, I know that, and she had returned back to Georgia on the Thursday leading up to this event, so it was quite recent. And she was moving back down. I don't know if she moved back down with her boyfriend at the same time, or what the story is there, but they are now living together in another part of Athens. But it was reported by neighbours that on the Friday, so that the Debbie was obviously killed on the Saturday, I believe, and on the Friday, neighbours heard some kind of argument taking place, a lot of shouting taking place. And apparently Amanda and I think Deborah had taken Amanda out for dinner that day. I don't know if it was during the day or in the evening, but apparently she took Amanda and I think maybe Andrew out for dinner, and neighbours heard the arguments on that day. I don't know exactly when the arguments were, but she is last reported as being physically seen at 9 p.m. that night on the Friday, and these events all take place on the Saturday. Her car's found the following day on the Sunday, and they find her body shortly afterwards. Athens, yeah, Athens in Georgia. It's a good question. Was the money that was transferred all the money that was in the account? We don't know that yet. Some people have speculated that the amount of money that was transferred could be to cover some of the criminal charges that her boyfriend Andrew had. But from what I've seen, his fees are somewhere over 4,000. So I don't know. Yeah, I know, average Patriot, yeah. I don't know if it matches entirely, but that's a possibility, right? Could it be to cover some legal fees? And there's something about the rehab center that doesn't seem like a coincidence being that close to the crime scene. I think that's important somehow. It's worth being aware as well that there was. Hey, happy thoughts. Well, yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, if that rehab location is so close by. And there are rumors that allegedly Amanda and Andrew had relapsed. There's a history of arrests for both Andrew and Amanda in the past. They had quite a on and off relationship. Andrew ended up getting arrested, I think about a year ago, turning up at the house that Amanda was living in at the time, banging on the door, apparently they had recently started sharing a bank account prior to them breaking up. And according to Andrew, what he said to law enforcement, that Amanda was basically taking half his pay, $400 to $500 every month from his paycheck, for drugs. He was claiming that she was using drugs at that point. He ended up getting arrested. I think there may have been some kind of order put in place, which he breached, obviously. So that just gives you the picture. Now, something else that I think cannot be avoided here, which I only found this out today actually, is the fact that Andrew's mother has been arrested and jailed for 30 years. This was last year, for trying to sell methamphetamine to some undercover cops. If I can find this information. So the mother of Andrew, Vicky Lynn Terrell, was busted during a sting in July 2021 while attempting to sell methamphetamine to an undercover police officer. According to reports, Terrell and 2 other people were detained when she unknowingly met with the undercover officer, trying to sell 2 ounces of methamphetamine for $750. And listen to this, she met the undercover police outside of a Dollar General in Statham, Georgia. She got into the passenger seat of the car, telling the officer to front her the cash or pay for the drugs in advance. She led them to a gas station nearby where 2 of her associates were waiting in a blue car when the officers refused, and obviously she was arrested. That cannot be ignored, right? Very odd. Okay, let's play the rest of this 911 call from Stephen.
Shopping like I thought she was. She usually shops for food on Saturday.
So she don't have any money at all with her or any other car?
Not to our knowledge. She has nothing.
But is her purse there?
Yes.
She left the purse as well?
Yes.
Does she have family here in town?
No, just her daughter.
Have you tried to call the hospitals and jails just to be sure?
No, I didn't think of calling the hospital.
Okay. Go ahead. Like I said, I got them on the way out there to you.
Okay.
Go ahead and call both hospitals, Athens Regional and St. Mary's, and just check with the jail as well to make sure. And we'll have somebody come out there and talk to you.
Okay. I appreciate it.
And your phone number?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.
Yeah, average Patriot. I think, like I was saying earlier, I think he just got himself confused, and then he clarified later to match up with Amanda's story that she had taken her debit card and driver's license in the purse. Cheryl says, okay, so he said the daughter went up to her room and he is telling them her card and driving license is there. Why isn't the daughter correcting him if she hears him saying that? A good question. I don't know. I mean, she could just be popping in and out of the room. You would imagine she'd be right there, though. Oh, you're all good, average Patriot. There's so much to this bizarre case. I've got a feeling it's not going to seem so bizarre once all the forensics are done and someone is arrested. I think it's all going to make a lot more rational sense, I suspect. I do want to show you something here though from the footage, because to begin with, I was thinking maybe law enforcement are wrong, and maybe Deborah was having some kind of breakdown. Because when she first comes into the store, it's kind of hard to determine, but she seems to kind of stumble a little bit or be a little bit unsure of her footing when she comes into the store. But I don't think it's anything, but I'll point it out to you anyway. So you see there, she kind of loses her footing a little bit, right? And at first I was thinking, is she under any kind of influence here? If you watch this again. But I don't think she is, because she walks absolutely fine after that, and she's walking fine through the car park. I think she's just getting her foot in there over the that part of the door. I think that's all it is. Now, some people had speculated that this isn't Deborah. This is someone impersonating her. Some people thought, is it Amanda impersonating her? I don't think it is. Law enforcement seem pretty confident that that's definitely Debbie. And you can see here from the Amanda the daughter, this is a recent picture. She's got a tattoo there on her left arm, quite a prominent dark tattoo there. And as you can see from the footage, her arm is bare. I think that's definitely Deborah. The part of the tree she had in her hand, was it pulled from the ground? Do they know? Like she was grasping at things to crawl away or something? The terminology that I've heard used is that the tree was cut. I don't know if they mean it was literally cut with a tool, or if it could have just been pulled. Let me here. I'll get up the picture of it. This is the other thing about this case, the bizarre crime scene. So that's the tree there. It does look to have been cut with a tool, right? That's seems to be. So she was lying, clutching this tree with her right hand. And just so you guys can visualize the journey that she went on. So her home was in Athens, and she traveled 76 miles up here to Clayton, which is the last decent sized town before the North Carolina border. And this is a really busy main highway, 441. That's where the store was in Clayton, and her body was found here. Now, as I say, they haven't given us any camera verification of her driving south. But there are apparently 4 different routes that you can take to get to this place here called Tallulah Falls, where her car was located. So did she take or whoever was driving, did they take a different route? Is that why we don't have any camera footage of that? Actually, it might be worth me just playing some of the press briefing here.
Good morning. On behalf of Sheriff Joey Terrell, I want to welcome you. To begin with, I'd like to give you a brief synopsis of where we are to date on the investigation. The results of the autopsy are still pending. The results regarding the analysis of the items we've submitted to the crime lab are still pending. We are now just beginning to get responses to the search warrants and the subpoenas in the case to date. We can tell you that
Cause of death hasn't been announced yet, no. I should say as well that there was an unfired bullet case found nearby at the crime scene as well.
we have
Regarding the tree, it seems like something happened when she got back in the. Hold on. But if it was on the ground already, she might have just grabbed at it. Could be, right? It's you just don't know. Thanks, Spaghetti.
received additional footage from a security camera from a business near the Family Dollar store. That additional footage shows us that Deborah Collier walked out of the Family Dollar store at 3:09, got into her van, and remained in her van in the parking lot for 10 minutes before leaving the parking lot and heading south on Georgia 15, Highway 441, US 23. This tells us that the time frame is actually narrowed a little further for this case to begin at 3:19 p.m. on Saturday, September 10th, and ending at 12:44 Sunday, September 11th, the time of the discovery. Please understand that this case is very complex in nature and has a lot of questions and unknowns that aren't found in a typical death investigation. It is going to take significantly more time than the 19 days that have passed since the discovery to solve this crime. We also want you to know that we are working diligently to solve this case. We are trying to obtain as much information as possible so that we can put together facts and evidence to support a motive and also to identify a person or persons of interest. At this time, I'd like to call up lead investigator George Kaysen to assist with answering the questions that you may have. George.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for being here, being part of this. Hopefully we'll be able to answer some questions and give y'all some insight of where we're at and kind of what we're dealing with. First off, I want to start off by saying we have received a lot of questions that y'all have sent in. Some of these questions, the information that is pertaining to those questions is very sensitive information. We will try to answer them to the best that we can, but there will be information that we need to retain just for the simple fact of it being very sensitive, and we don't want our potential persons of interest to be able to get a hold of this information. Just that way it does not jeopardize the furtherance of our investigation. As far as some of these questions that were asked, I'm going to kind of go through a list of them and try to give answers as best as possible to you. One of the first questions that was asked is, can you confirm the Venmo message from the daughter, from mom to daughter was sent to mom's phone? We're still waiting more information that we have requested to confirm or deny where the Venmo was sent from, but we can confirm that Amanda did receive the Venmo. She did receive money That much we do know right now. Continuing on, our next question was, are you in possession of Collier's cell phone, and where was it found? Yes, we are in possession of that cell phone. We do have it in evidence, and it was located at the crime scene. The next question that was asked was, what was Collier's cause of death? And as Colonel Kogod mentioned, we are still awaiting the full report from the medical examiner's office. Once that comes in, we will absolutely update everyone on those findings. What records and data have we analyzed? Due to that being sensitive information, much as the disclaimer that I gave when I first stepped up here, we don't want to reveal any information that could possibly be a potential or potentially jeopardize our investigation to where our suspects will get that information. There was a question about Deborah's phone records. We have served multiple search warrants on multiple different cell phone carriers. We are working with them to get all pertinent data from those devices and from those carriers. So hopefully we'll be able to develop more of a timeline, a better timeline, and hopefully be able to find out more information about what exactly happened. Inclusion of family members, a question was related to that. Is that right now we have not ruled anyone out at this point. We have ever developing leads and are gradually having the information that we have requested come in. So we're still in the process of trying to find persons or person of interest. And as that information starts to trickle in, it will actually help us develop more information for y'all to have. We're continuing to investigate Deb's activities from September 10th through to September 11th, which is also going back to the timeline. We're gradually just getting more information in. We want to know just as much as anyone else does, and we are working, as Colonel Kogod said, we're working diligently. We've lost a lot of sleep, as such should be.
Okay. And just to clarify as well, it's been said by Andrew through the media that they are being treated as suspects and they've been interrogated, and law enforcement also confirmed that a search warrant was actioned at their home here, and they went through the home for 6 hours. It was a 6-hour search. Just try to find that information. So this is just to specify the investigators finding her body. Sergeant Neil observed a red tote bag laid on its side near an uprooted tree. Actually, I'll show you the that particular tree they're referring to. It's not the same tree that she was clutching. So this is the uprooted tree. Okay, that's just that's some crime investigators' gloves there. But that's the uprooted tree, and there was the remains of a fire here, just under that part. Let me bring that back up. He looked further down the embankment, and Sergeant Neil observed what appeared to be a partially burnt blue in colour tarp, obviously the one she had purchased, As you looked further down the embankment from the tarp, you observed a nude female laying on her back. She was naked from the waist up, grasping that small tree with her right hand. And her remains appear to be burnt with what appear to be charring to her abdomen. It feels to me that that was a hasty attempt to try and burn the body to remove DNA. And for whatever reason, it didn't work that way for them. Oh, hey, niece. Oh, Jules, how are you? Something I mentioned earlier that I wanted to show you guys. I don't know if this is anything or not, but I'll see what you guys think here. To me, something happened in that car park, whether it was just through some communication to her or if it was physically someone meeting her in the car park. Everything up to that point you can rationally explain, but from the message and the transfer onwards is inexplicable. Okay, need to get the right footage here. So I've got a zoomed in version, right? This is, okay, let me show you here first of all. This, okay, so at this point, this is when she has left the dollar store and her car is there, that black car over here. And if you look on the left hand corner, you'll see a white van driving in and parking right next to her. Or silver car here. Notice that her brake lights are on here as well. Okay. So it parks right next to her. Now I want to show you a zoomed in version. Now, this is tricky because the camera goes in and out of focus and it becomes heavily pixelated at times. Now, hopefully you guys can see here. This is just at the start of the footage I just showed you, okay? And you can see her there. You can see her blonde hair and the red from her football top there, right? So you can see her sitting there. Now just watch. She turns around there, right? You see that? She looks to her right. Then turns back again. Now what I want you to keep an eye on here is on the other side of her car is this light blue Mini Cooper. And this is hard to see because of the pixelation, but you can see the blue from the Mini Cooper there, right? And that's showing through her window. So it goes up to about there where she's sitting. You see her head is covering that side of the blue color from the Mini Cooper. So just keep your eye on that and watch here. So this other car is obviously driving up to park next to her at this moment. Watch for her turning to her right again when you see the light color of her face. There, okay? She's turned right. And what you'll find, where did she go? You can see the blue from the car all the way up now, right? Just watch that again. Has she ducked down, or is she trying to hide? Just watch that again. So that's her there. Just turn to her right, like she's looking at the car coming in. So she sees the car, turns back around. Okay? The blue part of the Mini Cooper goes all the way up now. So she's in a different position. Has she ducked down? Or is she just hiding further back? As heavily pixelated as it is, you can see there, you can only see the blue part of the Mini Cooper going up to that point. Watch this again. See? You see it all now. Whereas that was covered the whole time prior. Let me just go back to the start. Turns right. Turns back forward. She's gone. No, she's still there actually. Hold on. Turns right. Sees the car. Boom. You see the blue all the way up. Is she scared of this car? And here you see this is how heavily pixelated it gets. Now, I think I can see the point in time where whoever drove up there leaves the driver's side and goes out the car after a minute or so to go into the store. This is difficult because it is, as I say, so highly pixelated. Is there a conversation taking place right now? You've just seen there someone get out of, I think, the passenger side of that car that just pulled up. Let me just go back. You see this person here get out. It could possibly be this car on the right hand side, and over there on the right hand side, see there, this person there, that's the driver getting out. Watch this area, see there? Right, there you go. So it's pretty much just a blur, but you can tell there's movement there, right? And that the top of the head is roughly there, because I wasn't sure at first if this person was from the other car below or this one that just parked, but that's roughly the head size. So there's no way it can be from this car here, because it would, it'd have to be about 30 foot tall. So it has to be from this side of that car that parked up. They go into the dollar store, I think. And you don't see any other movement back to that car or out of the car for the whole 10-minute period. A few other cars come in and out. It's more in focus here. And you can tell there that there's no one in this side of the car, the one that parked up. I think they've left. I'll just fast forward here to when she leaves. And that's her reversing back. So was there some kind of conversation here? And was she hiding? She definitely seemed to duck there. Let me just check the chat, guys. Yeah, the significance with the tinted windows is the fact that we can't tell if there's anyone in the car with her at this point. And when the other car parks up, it's too obscure to be able to see if anyone got in the car from that one. There's something about this car that could be important. But did you guys see what I was referring to there, where it looks like she suddenly hides after seeing the car pull up? Did you guys see that? Yeah, niece. I had thoughts about that as well, right? Was there possibly an affair going on and meeting someone randomly? It would explain a few things, right? Yeah, she takes her foot off the brake when the car pulls in. Yeah, just watch that again. So this is back to the start. Her brake lights are on. Yeah, and you can still see the red part there, right? But the whole part of that blue part there, unless it's some artifact of the low resolution, sometimes that can happen where the um, the mechanism that's recording this, because it's on such a low resolution, sometimes it can't decide which color one of the pixels will be, and it might lump one of the pixels of a nearby pixel the same color. So is it an artifact of that, or is she really ducking down there? And then her brake lights go off immediately. Hey Antimony, how are you? Cheryl says, wait, that's a new car, so it should have daytime running lights. So even if she took her foot off the brake, the tail light should still be on, unless she shut the car off. She possibly did shut the car off because she sat there for another 6 or 7 minutes. So I don't know if that's anything or if that, as I say, is just an artifact of the low resolution pixelation. But I thought that was interesting. Again, this is the full camera footage. So this is her reversing here. And some people have pointed out there may be something suspicious about a truck that comes round from the right-hand side here. and it almost feels like she's suddenly becomes wary because of this truck, and that's why she maybe just stops there in that space. But I think that can be explained by the Venmo, either her making the payment, the transfer, or getting a notification of it. This truck here. I don't think it means anything. I think she stops in relation to the Venmo. I think we can at least say there was at least two people in that car that pulled up, Cheryl. I think you can see someone exit from the passenger side and then from the driver side. But there was enough time there for some kind of conversation to have gone on, or for maybe someone to have gone into her car. It would be it wouldn't be picked up on the camera. So she sits there for about a minute or so, and then she leaves. Yeah, it feels that way, that she's still paying attention to her phone. That's why her driving is a little bit all over the place. I think he owed them money in Georgia, and there's indications that Andrew had broken his parole by moving out of the state of Georgia. Does anyone think that this person has any significance? The what appears to be the employee of the store here, this redhead woman. Does anyone think that she has any significance? No, I don't either. And as you can see, she turns to her right, going southbound, and the employee turns left, going northbound. Could she have gone up there to pay his fines and found out she wasn't able to do so? She sent the money to her daughter so he could pay it himself. It feels like it has to be related, right? Somehow to the daughter and boyfriend, and something like terribly wrong for her. And Amanda, when she got that message, if it wasn't her that sent it, if it was really Deborah, she knew that she was in danger. Yeah, it is. It's tricky, Antimony. So I think what I'll do now is play the 911 call from the daughter. I don't know if you guys have heard this yet, but it's kind of strange. So there's actually 2 calls that she makes. This is on the day that Debbie was found. But the first call is at 8:30 in the morning.
Hi, my name's Amanda Bearden, and I filed a missing persons report on my mother last night.
Okay.
Yesterday, excuse me, and I was just wondering if maybe I could speak with the detective that's been assigned to her case.
Okay. Do you have any further information?
I sure do. I mean, do you want the case number? I mean,
Go ahead and give me the case number so I can look it up that way.
bear with me just a second. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, it's 2022 dash 0910 0216.
216.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, hang on just a second. And the detective may not actually be in the building yet, so I may have to get you a patrol officer. Okay, so just bear with me just a second.
Okay.
So 09010.
I'm sorry, the handwriting is not that great, but it's 0910 0216.
Sorry about that. I think I missed.
You're fine. It's only me.
On Rocky Drive.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what kind of update do you have, just so I know what to try to?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean like I had an update. I just meant. Oh my God! I didn't mean. I'm sorry. I'm not in a clear mental state. This is my mother that's missing. I just wanted to talk to them. I wanted to see if maybe there was something that I could do. I do have the rental agreement number if they needed that. I mean, that's the only thing that I have to offer. So maybe, because she was in a rental car, I do have her rental agreement number. If they could maybe trace the GPS in it.
Okay. All right, what's your phone number?
Her daughter.
Yes, ma'am. Take a deep breath for me, okay?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I'd be upset too. I completely understand that part, like being upset about it. So the officer that took your report is already gone for the day. He worked last night. And then the detectives, I don't think they're in the building right now. They're kind of working on an on-call basis, so I don't know that I can get in touch with them unless I have something, fresh to give them, and that would be something. But I can see if I can get another officer to call you back, okay?
Okay.
And we've got the bolo out for her. We got everybody, keeping their eyes peeled for her and that kind of thing. So,
I'm not trying to be a smart aleck here or anything, but do I need to hire a private detective maybe? Because I mean, and I'm not trying to be ugly or anything, but I don't understand I mean, I know you don't know everything, of course, but why hasn't what I've asked being done? Like, why isn't the GPS in her van being traced? Do I need a private detective to do that? I mean, I'm not trying to be ugly or anything.
I know.
I just, the most help.
Okay, so here's the thing. She's an what is she?
She's an adult.
Right.
I got it.
So that makes things a little more difficult because people are allowed to leave and go and do things without telling other people. And I know that's not a good answer. I understand that. But that is also, that is also part of it because she is an adult. So it just takes some time also to do these things. And so I don't specifically know what they've done yet or not. I wasn't here last night, so I don't know. But from my understanding, they would be doing everything that we know to do currently. But I will definitely get somebody to call you back, okay?
Okay, thank you for talking to me.
It's no problem. I'm so sorry. I hate that this is happening to you. What was your name again, sweetie?
Amanda Bearden.
Amanda Bearden. Spell your last name.
Bearden.
Okay. All right. I'll get somebody to call you back here shortly, okay?
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
I agree, Cheryl. She knows that her mother is in trouble. This is within 24 hours. This was on the morning prior to her being found. She went missing on the 10th, and she was found at 12:30 in the afternoon on the 11th. And Debbie's husband and Amanda made the missing persons report at 6 p.m. Apparently, she had driven around for a couple of hours prior to that after she got the message trying to find her. And that call that you just heard was 8:30 in the morning. my Let me just put the panel link in the chat actually if anyone wants to jump up. My takeaway from that is a few things. How much she's trying to ingratiate herself to the operator, which can be a signal of knowledge of guilt. I think her fear and panic are absolutely real. She knows how much trouble her mother's in. And I think the purpose of her call was to try and get information, right? Not to give information as such. I mean, she was talking about the iCloud password. She's either clutching at straws there, or that's just a byproduct of her calling up, which is essentially to get information, right? I also found found the kind of odd that when she referred to her mum, she used the phrase mother twice rather than mom. Does that strike anyone as being a bit odd? Because she's essentially, her persona has kind of reverted to a sort of teenage childlike desperation and fear. You would imagine in those circumstances she would have used the word mom, right? It's a bit more intimate and personal rather than mother. It could be nothing, but could that be indicative of problems with the relationship, especially when you think about the fact that the neighbours heard a lot of rowing taking place the night before, and she had only just arrived back in Georgia on the Thursday, and there's rumours that she had perhaps relapsed, perhaps both her and Andrew. Was it whatever led to Deborah having to take that drive to do whatever the hell she was doing? Was that a result of whatever that fight was about? You know, a debt to be paid, and then Deborah was trying to resolve that by driving up there for whatever reason. Is the fact that the rehab center is so close to the crime scene a factor? Could be, right? I think I think she did send the Venmo message. I can't figure out the money side of it, right? I can't. But my interpretation of her saying that they won't let her leave is her. I think it's not quite as sinister as it looks. I think it's perhaps just her telling her daughter that she's not going to make it to be able to watch the football with her. I think she was dressed that way and she was buying the products that make absolutely sense if she was going to be attending some event for the football, whether that was just at home with Amanda or if it was some tailgating party. Now, there was another 911 call placed after this by Amanda. I'm not sure what time this was here.
Athens Clark County Police.
Hi, can I speak with Colonel Johnson?
Okay, I don't have a Colonel Johnson.
Okay. He just called me. I have some more information for him, and I wanted to give it to him. My name's Amanda Bearden.
Okay. All right, hold on one second. I talked to you earlier, so it was
Yes,
Sergeant Johnson we had you talk to. Hold on.
Sergeant Johnson. I'm sorry, honey.
No, that's okay. Just lots of Johnsons around here, so I want to make sure I got
No,
the right
I get it.
one. You just need him to call you back?
Yes, ma'am. I thought about it, and I have her iCloud information. I know that it's and correct me if I'm wrong, but if the phone is turned off, it would still track her. But I do have her. I've got her Apple ID and what I thought was her password, but the password isn't working. I don't know if y'all have technology or whatever, but I do have.
Yeah, what do you guys make of her bringing up the private investigator like that? Is it naivety or what is it? I think it's possible her or her boyfriend robbed drug dealers and her mom was bailing her out by paying it off. Yeah, I mean, going by Occam's razor, it has to be something close to that, right? It has to be. There's no other explanation why someone so low risk as Deborah could have ended up where she did, like that. I think the burns on her abdomen were a failed attempt to remove DNA evidence. Oh, cool, Carrie. It is incredibly interesting. It's just so mysterious. I think she's in a panic mode. She knows her mum is in trouble and is hoping she can be tracked and maybe saved. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think the worst guilt that she has is that her circumstances has led to this. I don't think she's complicit in any homicide. She sounds genuine to me. She's like a shriveled up child at this point. And I hear you, Antimony, regarding using mother rather than mom. It could just be an appeal to the audience. She's definitely consciously ingratiating herself, trying to make friends, right, with law enforcement here. But that's not necessarily like a devious manipulation because she is genuinely terrified for her mother. That there's a reason that she's withholding some information. That seems obvious, right? She didn't even tell her stepfather about the money or about the key being left in the flower pot. Yeah. I mean, you could take a more cynical angle, Jules, and say, is it an attempt to alibi building? You know, by presenting herself in this way? Oh, hey, Jackie.
I don't know. I mean, you know.
All right, hold on one second, okay?
They said he'd call me back. Okay, thank you.
And yeah, and just it's worth noting that she sounds like a teenager there, right? I acknowledge that it's extreme circumstances, but she's in her 30s, mid 30s. There's obviously, you can tell there's other issues have been going on with her as well, right? She's all over the place. She's a mess. I'm really curious about Amanda's biological dad, Joseph Bearden. Okay, is there anything you could tell us about that? I've not actually looked into that. I know that Deborah and Stephen married in 2013. I don't know when the previous marriage ended. He lives in Alabama and is remarried. Okay, I think the sister that made the 911 call, Diane Shirley, I think she lives in Alabama as well. Let me just check. I always take way too many notes and I can never find what I'm looking for. Yeah, Diane's from Alabama. Okay, let me I wonder why they divorced. Yeah, good question. So this is the call from Diane's sister. This is heartbreaking. This is a couple of hours, I think, after Amanda's first call. 11:30 in the morning on the 11th. So this is only about an hour before Deborah's found this call.
Clark County Police.
Yes, sir. My name is Diane Shirley, and my sister lives in Georgia, and my niece told me she was missing. Her name is Deborrah Collier, or she could go by Debbie.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if y'all have any information about it.
As far as, I mean, no, not other than with the officer or whoever is working on the case. I don't know anything. Where does she live? Do you know?
All I know is, I'm sorry, I don't know her address. Collier.
Okay.
Collier.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have any information. You know, when there's something, they will contact the family. Whenever they, like I said, whenever they have something for that.
Okay.
All right.
We're just not getting information, so I'm just.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I am really worried about my sister.
Okay.
And
you know, you have any information where she might go, or you have anything to add?
Well,
to it,
from my niece, she said that she was in an accident about a month ago, and she was, on the road. She was following this truck, and this truck lost a paint can, and the paint can hit my sister's car, and the paint went everywhere. And the driver was trying to convince my sister not to tell the cops that he was driving because he was out on parole, and there was, a stipulation to his parole that he couldn't drive.
I guess. Do you think that was, I'm sorry. I was going to ask, do you think that was told to anybody else? Well, do you think that was told to the officer, that concern?
That's standing from my niece.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if the officer knows that, but I can have him call you. If you want to pass it along with him, anything to help,
Yes, I would really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Because I'm in Alabama.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm in Alabama, and, I really do. She won't, she's not communicating very well with us, and I really would like to know what's going on.
I got you. Yeah, since you may have insight on that, I'll have the sergeant give you a call. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. That would be wonderful.
All right. And let's see here. Excuse me one more time. What's your name?
My name is Diane Shirley.
And your phone number?
Yes, sir.
And this is your sister, right?
Yes. Her daughter's name is Amanda Bearden. She would have been the one her and her husband, Steve Collier, would have been the ones filing the report, with my understanding from Amanda.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just have them give you a call, okay? And just hang tight, all right?
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I would like to know when she says that Deborah's not been communicating very well with them. Obviously, she means the Alabama side of the family. Is she just referring to those that day, because her phone was switched off? Or is she referring to, a time period prior to that as well? That would be, that could be, significant if she was acting out of sorts prior to this happening. That could indicate something. I just don't know if she was only referring to her not communicating while she was missing, essentially, or if it's further back. I'd like to know that. And there's some great points being made here in chat. Let me just catch up. Yeah, so we're talking about Amanda's biological father. It'd be interesting to know if he was in her life. I mean, there's clear, long-standing issues with substances with Amanda and with Andrew, and apparently even previous to Andrew with other boyfriends. I think there's a record of her being arrested at times in the past and indications of domestic violence. I don't have the specifics on that, but there's clearly a lot of issues going on there. Jules is saying that Amanda's stepmother, the wife of her biological dad, died only a month prior to Deborah, and officially it's complications due to COVID, but from what you're saying, Jules, there's rumours that it could be more nefarious than that, right? Oh, hey, Julie Evans, how are you? Welcome. Just my opinion, but I think she was meeting someone, lit a fire, and fell and took her top off because she was on fire, and tried to make it to the stream to help with the burns. Just saying, don't hate me. No, you won't get any hate here. The thing is, that would be such a out there circumstance, and we already have one out there circumstance with the Venmo. I mean, going by Occam's razor, the fewer unlikely events that we need to fit for the theory, the less possible it usually is, right? But you may be right. It could be just an horrendous accident. But she had, by all indications, suffered a back injury, quite a serious back injury, and she, to all accounts, would not have been walking through woods. I mean, if it was some bizarre accident, why in the world would she be meeting someone off a pull off in the woods? Why would she have switched her phone off after sending such a bizarre message to her daughter? I mean, you can speculate. Was there some affair going on? Oh, hey, Amy, of course you're welcome here. We do have a long past. There's... Amy, I promise you, there's no need to apologise. It's all good. Don't look back in anger, right? I've made many apologies on YouTube, I can assure you, so you're welcome here. Antimony, I think Debbie was an abuse survivor. Yeah, there's very worrying evidence of apparently About a year prior, Deborah put pictures up on Facebook of really bad eye injuries. And she said that this was a result of her face planting onto a concrete pavement. People are speculating as to what may have caused this. Was she trying to hide something else, right? Who knows? But that's a hell of a she's hell of a marked up there, right? And a picture of Andrew there. Wait, can you go back? Which picture, Cheryl? In the one picture, it does look like she had scrapes under her eye. Hold on. Did you mean one of the Facebook posts that she put up after she fell, or did you mean a different picture? Right before the one with the mask on. Okay. This one. Saying you fell when you were actually beat up is common for survivors. Yep. Where are the abrasions? Hmm. It looks like scrapes on the bottom part of the right side. Do you mean like fingernail scrapes, yeah? But it could be wrinkles too. Yeah, Jules, that picture, she has very sad eyes there, right? Okay, I'm gonna play the footage from the arrest of Andrew when he turned up at Amanda's home. He was upset, according to himself. Amanda was taking parts of his paycheck because they shared a bank account, and she was using it for drugs, allegedly, according to him. So he turns up at her home and is banging on the door, so the cops show up.
But she's still been taking money from my card. And that's the only reason we've had any contact, because still recently, but she's still been taking money from my card.
And I think this is about a year prior.
And that's the only reason we've had any contact, because every week she takes $500 or $600 from my check, and I just don't see how that's right. And she goes and does dope with my money. Like I've made over $30,000-$40,000 this year, and I'm completely broke because she spends it all on drugs. And my issue is that there's clothes in the house that is mine.
Could you tell me what happened when you came over here this morning?
I asked for my clothes, and she said I needed to leave. I mean, I just got here. I haven't done anything wrong. That window's been broke. Can I just leave if she's not going to give me my stuff? I really haven't. I mean,
We're just trying to figure out what's going on because, beating on somebody's door this early causing scene at the door. So, I understand you feel like stuff's been stolen or whatever. But
she said to not ring the doorbell because the cat doesn't like it. I just knocked on the door a couple times. I haven't done anything that they're saying. I mean, they've already made false charges against me before.
So y'all were talking through the door at each other?
Trying to. But I mean, if she wants me to leave, I'll leave. I didn't know.
All right, man.
Can I just go?
Just stand by with me so he can talk to her. What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew.
I just want to be done with her. I mean, she's been cheating on me. She's been doing drugs. I've never done any drugs in my life.
Have y'all had police involved before in y'all's business?
Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to get my money back because we're not supposed to have contact, but she's taking $500 each check.
Why aren't y'all supposed to have contact, Andrew?
Because...
Is there like a court order?
I guess so. I don't know. I went to court a while back, but...
Did you get arrested?
I've been arrested before. Well, the last time I got arrested because they false.
One thing I will say is that if there's anything nefarious going on here, from Andrew and Amanda, I don't think they have the capability of setting up anything too complicated here. On one of the forums, someone referred to Andrew as just being a bit of a dope, a bit dopey, right? And I think it's a good description. I think he clearly has a temper. I just don't see him as being Machiavellian enough to, come up with some complicated plan, to get rid of Deborah for whatever reason. It's just a thought. But it can be ignored as well how his mother was arrested and locked up last year for 30 years for trying to sell methamphetamine.
Whatever. I mean, her mom, dude, I don't know what the issue is here. I don't know why I'm so unliked. This girl got hit by a car, and I'm taking care of her. I don't know what the problem is.
Let's get in the shade. Over here.
I would just like to, I mean, I work hard.
Where do you work at?
Williams-Sonoma.
Williams-Sonoma. Okay.
I just want to know why it's okay for her to steal $600 a week from me. And I can't do anything about it.
It's not okay. So we're here now, so maybe we can help out.
Because last time I went to court, I mentioned that, and
what'd they say?
I mean, well, they pushed it back till another day. So like,
how does she have access to your money?
Well, long story short, when we were together,
Here's a question, guys, right? From what you know of Amanda and Andrew, type a 1 if you think that Andrew would be the number one manipulator out of the two, or if you think Amanda would be the manipulator and the aggressor out of the two.
phone, bro. Long story short, I mean, she's manipulated me into all the where she could have all my money, basically do whatever she wants to me, kick me out whenever she wants, basically just do whatever. And it's okay because I'm a man. There's nothing I can do about it, like other than just let her do it or leave.
But how does I'm asking.
Well,
how
long
does
story
she?
short, I didn't have a phone
Uh-huh.
because my phone broke. So this is the dumbest mistake I've ever. We linked our cards together so she can send herself money from my card. So I mean, the first person to touch my money is her, and it's usually $500 or $600.
Where do you work? So how do you get paid through your job?
Well, I just recently switched it to a paper check, so she couldn't do that, and
okay, so you kind of took care of that problem.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still $4,000 that.
You know, you got to go to court for something like that. If she's not willing to give you the money back, you got to take her to court, a civil court, because y'all live together. So it's a civil issue.
Well, we don't live together anymore.
Y'all did though.
Okay.
So
I'm just trying to figure out because I've told her like, hey, don't take any of my money. I'm staying at my grandma's, and then all of a sudden.
I hear you, Amy. He doesn't sound smart enough to be manipulative. It's true. And a lot of people have suspected that Amanda would be the more likely manipulator of the two. I've not gone to look at the specifics of Amanda's criminal record, but I gathered that she's been arrested a few times in the past, right? In relation to previous relationships as well. And there's indications of domestic violence in previous relationships, as far as I know. Obviously, there was a no contact order in place there, and Andrew was arrested as a result of that incident I was showing you there.
So what happened? What time did
This was really early in the morning, this incident. So this is them talking to Amanda.
So what happened? What time did he show up?
He started messaging me on Facebook.
Yeah.
I thought we were broken up.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh. My window was previously broken.
This one?
Yeah. He was trying to break it in. And he messaged people on Facebook, my friends, saying that I was cheating on him.
Yeah.
I never cheated on anybody in my life. I don't know where he gets these ideas. I was just like, okay, so
I've never cheated on anyone in my life. Not many people can say that.
go, have a good day. Right. And the next thing I know, he's at my front. He's at the front door.
Gotcha.
He's probably been here. I might have called 911 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
After
he was here and y'all talking through the door?
Yeah.
Okay. Did y'all get face to face or anything?
No.
Is it just through the door? You just knew it was him?
He's scared.
Okay.
So that's that. And she has physically changed in the last year, right? Which would be, I get the impression that they were attempting to sort their issues out. It's pretty hard to put on a lot of weight, right, if you're a heavy drug user. So if they did relapse, is it perhaps quite a recent thing? Is this the reason that they turned up all of a sudden back in Georgia? 2 days prior to Deborrah going missing. And don't forget the argument, the shouting that neighbours heard the previous night on the Friday from when Deborrah drove all the way up there and then ended up where she did. Oh God. I don't want to hear that, Amy. No. No dear. Yeah. It is very fishy. I think it's got to be related. Her just turning up like that all of a sudden, and what we know about their past, both of them. Just want to go back over this for anyone that wasn't in here earlier, just to show you what appears to me to her possibly being to be hiding or ducking down after she sees the white van coming towards her and parking next to her. If you look here, you see the red of her top, and then you see her head up here, which is obscuring the blue color on the opposite side from this Mini Cooper. She's looking straight ahead there, and she turns to her right there, right? And then she turns back again. There. The car's coming up. Looks to her right there, and then there. All of a sudden you can see that whole blue part of the car behind. It's either some artifact of the low resolution, or is she ducking down? I don't know. It could be nothing. Because this is the point in time where things become inexplicable from here onwards. The Venmo message is sent 4 or 5 minutes after this point. The amount of money is what makes me curious. Has there been an explanation for the amount? 2,385. There's been a few speculations. People have come up with the fact that Andrew had criminal charges and fees. Perhaps it was to cover that. I think his fees, if you tally them all up, it comes to somewhere around about 4,000. There was another interesting theory. I don't know if anyone has looked into this, and it relates to whether or not this rehab home has any significance that was located nearby the crime scene. Bear in mind that the boyfriend, Andrew, was required to enter rehab by September the 20th, okay? That's due to the result of a previous arrest. And someone had, let me just see if I can bring up the Victory Home Men Only Rehab Center, which is nearby the crime scene. This is it here. Providing recovery programs that are designed to meet the needs of individuals at various stages of the recovery process. It looks to be a private home, a private recovery center, which offers quite low prices due to some help they get with some local charities, I think. But just notice here, it's $475 per month. And someone said here, so the cost of a 6-month stay there would be $2,850 at $475 per month. And there was 2,385 cent. If you subtract 1 month from the 2,850, you get 2,375, which is pretty darn close. Maybe Deborah had paid the first month. Maybe it was just a retainer to be used in the event that the person was accepted and was sending her daughter the remainder to be paid when the person was admitted. That's the other theory. I don't know if that's a coincidence, if it's related in any way. I thought it might have been a birthday, but I couldn't find a matching birthday. Yeah, I've not either. This is from a Daily Mail reporter who took this footage at the crime scene in the days following this. So you can get an idea. Obviously the car was parked there. So she was located about a quarter of a mile from that lay-by. I really don't see her voluntarily coming down here. I think she was... Another thing to bear in mind is that law enforcement actually seen her car in that lay-by at 5 p.m. the previous day to when she was found. An officer had reported the fact that the car was there, but they didn't know the significance of that stage. So I think she was dead prior to being placed where she was. I think there was an attempt to... But then she's grasping that tree, right? So I just don't know. You think, Julie? I just can't. I can't come up with a scenario that fits. I don't see her walking down that ravine on her own voluntarily. Was she pressured down there? Was she thrown down the ravine? The fact that she's holding that cut-off tree makes the implication is she was alive down there. Yeah, good point. There would have been obvious drag marks if she was already dead because it did rain quite a bit through the night. So you would imagine, even though that's not good for DNA, it would surely leave footprints and drag marks and things. Yeah, I think she was forced down there. And hopefully they can have a look at the bottom of her shoes. That might give some indication of whether she walked down or was carried down. And don't forget there was an unfired bullet casing somewhere in and around the crime scene. Was she tortured? Or was it an attempt to get rid of DNA evidence? You know, the burning. Because it wasn't just her abdomen, from what I can tell. I think there was red marks over other parts of her skin, and her abdomen was badly charred. Really good question, Cheryl. Did they find the remnants of her shirt? It's not been reported. It's just been reported she was naked from the waist up, but no indications that her shirt was found at the crime scene anyway. I was wondering about the only other things was the paper towels and the fact that she had a torch lighter. Were they in her car? But apparently there were some paper towels found that were charred at the crime scene as well. So perhaps whoever was with her took her lighter, or is it still in the car? Who knows? You think torture, Amy, yeah? There has to be a reason that law enforcement are saying that they know this was personal. And if it's personal, that doesn't make you think it would just be a drug debt hit to punish someone. Why would they torture her? You know, drug dealers don't tend to act that way. You know, possibly, I guess, but it wouldn't be personal from a drug dealer. So that's where her body was, and that's the tree that her right hand was grasping, and it's clearly being cut off this part here, the trunk. No one can come up for an explanation for that. Was it being used as a weapon? No, no, they don't. But if they don't get paid, Amy, they can be pretty lethal, right? But it wouldn't be a personal killing. That's the uprooted tree trunk where there was the remains of a fire here. It's just so bizarre and creepy. As I said earlier, it's like something out of a Coen's brother film. Something gone horrendously bad. Torturing her to send a message. I think Andrew or Amanda stole. Yeah, it could be that they stole drugs, in theory, or just couldn't pay. Is that linked to the argument the previous night with Deborrah? And apparently Deborah took Amanda out. I think Amanda and Andrew, I'm not too sure. She took them out for lunch or dinner that same day. Yeah, Fargo, right? She might have taken them out to discuss how to fix the mess they were in. Yeah. And did she just not know what she was getting into? In the Venmo message, you can explain as she, for some reason, knew that she wasn't going to be able to make it back in time for this football event. But I still can't explain the transfer. It's so strange. Hmm. Yeah, for all we know, they might have owed the dealers more, but that's all she had. Maybe that's why they killed her. They were pissed she didn't have cash and not what they wanted. Yeah. And did she, once she realized that she didn't have enough, they weren't going to accept what she was going to give them, she decided just to transfer it to her daughter. Amy, was Debbie that broke that as a 60-year-old woman couldn't pay a drug bill? I mean, certainly she has credit or something to get a large amount of money. You would have assumed so. Stole drugs, they ran home, and the dealers followed them. Hey, Peachy. I'd love to know what part of Maryland they were staying. Yeah, apparently Amanda was staying in the same apartment complex as her brother up there in Maryland. Yeah, why did she buy those items? It's all very strange. I can't figure out any kind of theory. Do you know the Amy Day case? I do. I'm going to go through that interrogation at some stage. That is, that's crazy, that one. It's a fascinating interrogation as well. I would fall trying to get out of the cave thing, and why light a fire just outside the cave? I was thinking that, Jules, like, I can't believe they left, like, so many articles behind, the investigators, you know, gloves and crime scene tapes. What the hell? And again, there are rumors that Amanda and Andrew had camped out somewhere in the region of this crime scene. It's quite a scenic area called Tallulah Falls, and they are just rumors. Running away from Maryland for some reason, right? That's what it looks like, right? Oh yeah, Amy, the items that she purchased, it does seem so strange, but it makes sense if you assume that she was going to either a tailgating event or, you know, meeting up with her daughter or some people to watch the game. All those items make sense in that scenario because I think that is what was planned to occur. And for some reason, her husband perhaps didn't know about it. I mean, when he left in the morning, he assumed that she was still in bed because he seen her car in the driveway. But he mentioned in the 911 call, I think, that he thought perhaps she was just out shopping. So if there was some event taking place, then it seems Stephen didn't know about it. But I really do think she was planning for that event, whatever the event was, whether it was just with her daughter or some tailgating party. Because as I say, it it was forecast for rain, so the poncho and the tarp all makes sense if you think about it like that. And I think that's what's happened. She was assuming she was going to go up here and sort out whatever this problem was, and then get back down for this football event. That's what it seems like to me. Amy, I owe Jules an apology. I owe her the biggest apology of them all. I'm sorry, Jules. That's probably for a different life. Well, fair play to you for saying that, Amy. Julie, hey Cheryl, you're on the same page, I think. I'm on a different book. It's not hard to be on a different book in this case. As I say, I rarely cover the big cases that are current, but this one has got me fascinated. Peachy, I still can't wrap my head around how messy they left the crime scene. I know. I know. Now, as I was saying at the start of this, I've got a Google Doc together with a bunch of information, notes that I've taken on this case. Anyone that would like to have a look at that, I'll put the link in chat here so you can have a look at that, or you can download it. It's a bit messy. It's a collection of information, some of my own notes and notes from media articles and things, but there's quite a lot in there for anyone that's interested in looking into this further. And feel free to download that, and then you can amend it yourself, put it in a better order, whatever. I'll just pin that there at the top. If you look under the video description, there's a link to that Google Doc, and there's a Word document for anyone that prefers that. Okay, so you're being kidnapped by someone, and one of the things you message your daughter is where to find the key to the house. Makes no sense. You're welcome, Amy. And she switches her phone off as she's leaving the car park there. Because Amanda says that she was trying to call her, and eventually law enforcement were trying to call her and they couldn't get through to her phone. It was switched off from then on. To me, it feels like someone's got control of her phone. I'm starting to think she didn't send that message. I'm not believing she sent Amanda all of that money knowing she's a drug addict. Yeah. Typo 1, if anyone in here thinks that Amanda is more culpable than just having knowledge of why Deborah ended up in danger. If you think she's more culpable than that, then put a 1. And if you think she only has knowledge of why Deborah ended up in trouble, type a 2. Serial killer 101 stuff. Switch off the phone so it can't be tracked. Okay. A lot of 1s. Sounds to me that she's not culpable. I don't think she wanted any harm to come to Deborah. I think at the worst, it was the result of her circumstances that led to Deborah being in trouble. I think she was genuine in her panic and fear about Deborah. That's my hunch. I think Jenny said earlier she thinks someone was in her car when she got back in at the store. She thinks it's the boyfriend. Okay. Well, law enforcement have to be very interested in Andrew's movements that day, right? They have to be. Yeah, you wouldn't be telling anyone where the key to your house was if you're being kidnapped. Cheryl, I think if that was the case of someone getting into her car, we would have seen it on video. It feels like either someone was already in the car and was just shielded by the tinted windows, or when that white car parked up, there was either just a conversation that led to Deborah being scared or whatever, or someone entered her car at that point and they were obviously behind her so you couldn't see. Oh, hey, Queen Bee, good to see you. Showing the love. What do you make of this case, Queen Bee? What's the new video that came out by Gray? I know Gray is great on true crime. He really is. Is it the footage of from the car park of her car turning up and her walking in? I'm interested. No, it's new footage of her car going into Prosser. What do you mean by Prosser? Oh, no. This is not Kylie Rodney. This is Debbie Collier. But that case, Kylie Rodney, is so tragic. It really is. You're all good. Peachy thinks the daughter and boyfriend planned to scam Debbie, but the boyfriend killed her, which probably wasn't supposed to happen. Possibly. Yeah, Queen, it's so bizarre. So bizarre. Do we know yet what led to Kylie ending up in the war? I kind of checked out of that one once it was known that she had passed. That's right, Queen. This has to be significant. This could be significant. Andrew's mother was arrested and sentenced to 30 years for trying to sell meth to some undercover cops. 30 years. Peachy, if it wasn't the daughter and boyfriend, then somebody committed the perfect crime. And there has to be a reason that law enforcement are so particular about this being personal. Yeah, that thought crossed my mind as well, Queen Bee, because think about this. The husband, Stephen, seemed to have no knowledge of Debbie going to any football event. The way she was dressed and the items that they purchased, to me, I think we're going to find out that she was planning to go to some event, whether it was with her daughter or some other people, but it was either a tailgate party or something you know, to watch the football and, you know, make some food, barbecue. She knew it was going to be raining, so she got the poncho and the tarp. That it all makes sense if she was going to some event like that. But her husband on the 911 call was talking about the fact that she may have gone out shopping. He seemed to have no idea about any event. And there may be other reasons why Amanda is withholding knowledge of that, that the stepdad is just completely unaware of. So could it be that she was having an affair, that she was meeting up? Is it completely unrelated to Amanda and Andrew? It seems so solvable after getting phone records. Yeah, yeah. Cheryl, I think law enforcement have a good idea who and what happened. They just need to get the evidence. Yeah, and I was thinking about that, and I was wondering, you know, because law enforcement they do they put out certain things for a reason. Um, in one of the first videos that they put out was the surveillance footage from Debbie sitting in her car after coming out of the store, which is exactly when that white or silver car parked up next to her. And I was thinking, are they putting that there for a reason to let the suspect know that they're aware of her parking next to her for some reason? Have they chosen this particular timeline for a reason? This was one of the first videos they put out. Or are they allowed to be put out by media? If I can get the right video. Something about this car worries me. And her brake lights go off immediately. And she was definitely looking over her right shoulder when that car was approaching. And it looked to me that she possibly ducked down or hid herself. And is this where someone else ended up in the car and she was no longer in full control of her phone? Because it does take a couple of minutes for anyone to leave that car. Someone leaves on the driver's side, and then someone leaves on the passenger side. And that car remains there for the rest of this footage. That's her backing out. That's the silver car still there. And it's right about now that the Venmo transfer takes place. Oh, hey, Veronica, how are you? In my opinion, someone was in that car with her. Mm. Cheryl, you know when you said she was ducking down, if someone was in the back, she might have just turned around to talk to them, trying to convince them not to abduct her. Yeah, they probably have more videos, right, from stores in that park there. You're not convinced that car had anything to do with it? Julie, she may have had the app on her phone, so no one knew where she was going to track her, so she turned her phone off. Type a 1 if you think someone was in the car prior to her turning up here. Because bear in mind, her car was spotted travelling north towards Clayton, but she was only about 15 miles away, and her car was spotted on camera, God, I think about 50 minutes prior to her turning up here, so she had plenty of time to have been meeting up with anyone else prior to showing up at the store. So type a 1 if you think someone was already in her car when she turns up here, or type a 2 if you think you're suspicious of that white car that turned up next to her. No, I think you're right. They will have more footage they're not releasing, right? For a reason. There's a reason they know it's personal. You think maybe someone was in there prior to her turning up here, but if there was, I don't think she knew it until she got back into the car. So when you're saying that they have footage they're not releasing, do you think it's footage of someone entering her car when she goes into the store? Or some kind of evidence of someone being in the car? And some people have pointed out the message that was sent from her wouldn't be what you would expect the way it's written, right? There's no commas or full stops or anything. I'm pretty sure this is exactly how it was written. It looks like it's been written by someone else, just without a lot of care, or it's been written in a rush where you wouldn't care about things like commas. the way it says the key would be in the blue flower pot. Is that just a mistake? Would it mean under the flower pot? That's what you'd assume. You know, someone would leave a key under it rather than in the flower pot. Is that just a result of her rushing the message in the transfer, or is it someone else that's just taking less care with the message? Or is it someone that, for whatever reason, has poor grammar? Someone younger? Yeah, there could be other footage, right, from the cameras, proving someone's with her. I know, it's such a strange message. Something happened between her entering the store, getting back in the car, pulling out, then stopping in that parking lot before leaving. Yeah. Because everything else leading up to that point is completely explainable and rational to me. If you assume that she was going to some football event. Everything she purchased makes sense. The only thing that needs explaining is why she drove so far up there, past all the other convenience stores. Well, it had to be for a reason. She had to be meeting someone. But she was intending to come back for that event. I know, Cheryl. It feels to me like he's just completely out the loop. I get the impression, because he's just a stepdad, right? I get the impression that Deborah might have been one of those mothers that was trying to shield a lot of the truth from her husband about about her daughter. The way that, you know, mothers will try and do sometimes, you know, protective. I mean, they weren't married too long, not even 10 years. Yeah, you agree? And it's there's a picture here that is so sad of her husband. He's apparently quite frail. He's obviously a lot older than Debbie. He's 67, I think. This is a picture taken after Debbie was found. And this is him picking up Deborah's car that was being repaired. There was a crash in April. That's why she was using that rented car. And that's him a few days after Deborah being found going to pick up the car from the repair shop. I know, right? Poor guy. I do get the impression that he was being shielded from a lot of the truth, a lot of the problems that were going on. Yeah, you can't see Debbie giving Amanda access to her house without her being there. So do you think she sent the message or someone else sent that message, Veronica? The more I've gone on tonight, the less confident I am that she sent it. Yeah, let's get an interview with the husband. We have questions. He surely has questions, right? And this is a recent picture of Amanda. Some people were speculating that Amanda was impersonating Deborah in the store, but I think you can see it's not her. Plus, she has a tattoo on her left arm, and the woman in the store doesn't have a tattoo. The neighbours said whenever Amanda visited, there was always loud arguments between mother and daughter. He definitely knew that Amanda had issues. She was staying in one of his houses. I didn't know that she was staying in one of his houses. I knew she was staying up in one of her brother's apartment complexes prior to moving back down to Athens, and she now stays with her on and off boyfriend, Andrew. Yeah, I mean, obviously she couldn't have shielded everything to him, but he certainly didn't know that Deborah was going to any kind of football event, which I'm pretty certain she was doing. So why was he not aware of that? Yeah, I can see that, Cheryl. She was being told what to say. You don't think it was her words. Yeah, she was possibly being coerced into sending that message, right? Veronica, you're not sure. The text in itself is bizarre, but something about the key in the flower pot doesn't sit right. I know. It's so weird. Like it has some meaning, Cheryl. Hmm. Alright, guys. Well, I think that's all I've got for tonight. I just wanted to really just go through the facts, I guess, and the timeline. I have a live scheduled for late tomorrow night with Antimony Lane on this. So hopefully we'll get into a bit more analysis, maybe get a bit of a panel going on this. It's fascinating to me. Peachy, how crazy would it be if this had nothing to do with the daughter and her boyfriend? It's possible, right? I mean, there are outliers that prove the rule of Occam's razor. Sometimes there are bizarre coincidences in true crime. It does happen. They would have to be so unlucky, though. Yeah, sure doesn't like unsolved cases. Well, I think you'll get resolution on this one. No doubt about that here. Yeah, right. We've got some homework, guys. Have a look at that Google Doc or the Word document there. The links under the video description. There's a lot of information in there. I've just not really put it in a great order as of yet, but if you download that, you can amend it yourself, add your own stuff to it, or whatever. Oh, there's definitely going to be a resolution on this one. But it's not like the Villisca axe murders from 1912, where that's doubtful. But there is something pretty exciting actually coming up with the Villisca case soon, which I'm looking forward to for part 2 on that case. So watch the space on that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me here. Yeah, they might be waiting for toxicology. What was the cause of death? Prayers for Deborrah. Yeah, it's tragic. And if it turns out to be the most likely scenario here, where it relates to the that age-old problem, addiction, then it's just yet another example how caring family members are so often the victims of those they care about issues, drug issues, whatever the addiction is. So tragic. Yeah, so we've got this one, Cheryl, and Sarah Boone. Now, hopefully, the trial's coming up in November. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be surprised at the resolution on this one, Peachy. I know. The Sarah Boone trial is going to be interesting, especially if she does what I predict she will do, which is to demand to be on the stand. That'll be interesting. Alright, guys. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll be back on probably about this time tomorrow night. I've got it scheduled for about this time tomorrow night with Antimonate, so hopefully we can delve a bit more into this and see what she thinks about this case. And anyone else that wants to jump up on panel, then feel free. All right. Good night, everyone, and I shall see you tomorrow.